You're welcome back once again, guys, to this tutorial series and my YouTube channel. Now we're going to create the logout endpoint where we'll, get the refresh token from the user, and then we'll clear that out from the user's table, user's collection rather, since we are using mongoose, not SQL database, and then we'll, successfully log the user out of the system. Now, this is very, very important. Should in case the user is done with the system web application and the user wants to log out. So this is very safe by the user logging out, as this will clear out the refresh token, and another no access token will be regenerated for the user. And or should in case the user's token is being compromised, someone kind of hacked into the user system, but maybe the person don't know the user password or email, the user can log out, to render that refresh token ineffective. So right now, without wasting much of your time, I will go to my code editor, and then we'll see how to put this to practice. Okay, so we're going to create a post endpoint with the path name logout, just like what we're seeing here on my code on line 73. Let me quickly increase the size of um, my text so you see that clearly. Okay, so I'll give it. Let me close my panel as well. So I'll give it a post endpoint with the path name logout, and we've already created the login and the regenerate access token in the previous video. Should in case you missed that part of the series, you can do well to check back on my playlist on how you can create the login and the regenerate token endpoint. So now we have the logout part. Let me quickly create the asynchronous express function. I'm going to make it asynchronous because we'll be making some query on our database using mongoose. So that is going to return a promise. We have to await that promise. So let me make it async because we'll be using the await keyword. So I'm going to say async, then I have the request, the response. This is not the middleware, so I don't really need the next part of the function body. Okay, now within my function, I can have the try catch statement where I can, handle the error or the failure part of the promise in the catch block. But in most cases, I will handle the success in the try block. So the first thing we need to do, just like we have over here, is to get the refresh token from the user. So let me quickly implement that point. I'll say let refresh token equal request.body dot refresh token. So at this point, we've gotten that from the user refresh token, and I can quickly do an if check statement here. If that is not provided, then we can just break the user out of the system by telling them to please provide a refresh token. So I'll give an if conditional statement there. If not refresh token, then let's just return with a response to the user of please provide a refresh token. Okay, yeah, that's good. That's it. And then if the user provides us a refresh token, then we can break out of that and then go to the other part of the code. At this point, we'll then need to check if the refresh token is valid, just like the second point here. We have to check first if the refresh token is valid. If it's in our database, then we can go ahead and then clear that from our database. So let us do a quick check here. Let's say let's give that store the output of the check in a variable. Let me call it valid token. You can give it any name you want. I'm just currently calling it valid token at this point. So valid token will be we have to await the result. Await user instance, which is the user model in our database. User instance. Let me quickly grab that name. Okay, it's user instance. That's the name of the model where we are doing the check on. So user instance dot find one where we have this let me do what we do, where we have this refresh, where we have this refresh token. So what this line of code is actually meant to do is to go into our database and then check from our collection, from our record, where uh, where we have this refresh token. you know, um, Instead of calling it valid token, I think it would be better I call it user, because this mongoose find one option is actually going to return us, the record of the user who owns this token. It's not just going to return us just this token, but it's going to return us the complete detail of the user. And we want to get, this user's record, so we'll clear the refresh token from his table. Okay. And then, so this is where we kind of return if the record is not found by saying if no user, not user, then just return by sending a response to the user of invalid token provided. Provided. Okay. So if this is successful, then we have a valid token provided, valid refresh token provided, and the users still exist on our table. The token is still there. So what we need to do at this point is to clear that from our database, and we can go ahead by saying user dot refresh refresh token. We just set that to an empty string, and that will clear it out for us. And then after storing it in as an empty string, then let us await user dot save. So at this point, we have successfully cleared the refresh token from the user's record, and then we updated the user with this user.save mongoose method. Now, after successfully saving that, this is actually going to be a promise as well. That's why we have to await the response, and then after that is successful, then we can return. This is return on rest.send. This is where we tell them you have successfully logged out. So at this point, if everything goes well, and they've successfully logged out of the system, and the refresh token is no longer there on the database. And then maybe in case there's any errors on the server side on the code, then the catch block we kind of take care of that. So we just return press the send over here and fail to log out. Then we'll see server error. Okay, yeah, because at this point, if the user don't provide us some valid information, or if the error is from the user, that would be that will quickly break the user out, and we'll see the error in any of our if blocks. But the catch block is actually returning us, any error that is coming from the server. Okay, so quickly I'll go to my Postman, and then let's quickly log in a user, and then get a refresh token and log out that user from the system. Okay, so I'm on my Postman this very moment. So first thing, let's log in a user, a registered user with an email, and when I click on send, oh sorry, I need to start my server. It's actually not running this time. I'll start my server with the command yarn dev. Okay, yeah, while the server is coming up, we are going to test this endpoint, and then log in the user, get the refresh token, log out that very user from our system, and then we'll try to regenerate access token for the user to see if that will be generated. Okay, the server is now up and running, so let me log in the user. So we get the access token and the refresh token. All right, good. So the user is now logging. We have the access token, and this is the user's refresh token. So I want to quickly copy this and regenerate access token for this user. So I'll go to the regenerate refresh token endpoint. Okay, let me quickly create an endpoint for generate refresh token. It's going to be a post request, just like what we have here. It's going to be a post request, and the endpoint is localhost. It's not user. It's actually going to be regenerate refresh token. And so for the refresh token, if you check from the previous tutorial, to the regenerate refresh access token, you need to send a refresh token on the request body. So let me try to just hit the endpoint without providing the refresh token. So let's see what error message we are going to get. Regenerate access token. Oh, this should be underscore, not the minus we have over there. Okay, so that's the correct part. Right, good. Please provide a refresh token. So let's provide that so we can quickly get a newly regenerated access token. So the key is refresh token, and then I can quickly paste in the copy refresh token right there. So when I try to send this, well, this is the regenerated access token for the very user, and then when I send it again, it regenerated another access token. So now let me log out this user from this system and then try to regenerate again with this very refresh token. Okay, so this is my so this should be log out, not regenerate access token. Log out. Okay, so now let me try to log out the user without providing a refresh token. Let's see what we'll get. So we'll get this please provide a refresh token error. So I need to provide that real quick. And before providing a valid refresh token, I'd just like to pass in just some gibberish string in there, and then let's see what error messages is going to tell us, because this is actually not in our database. Okay, invalid token provided. This is returning this response because this refresh token is not in the database. So let me pass in a correct refresh token. And I have a valid refresh token. Now we have this, you have successfully logged out result because we provided a valid refresh token. Now, if I try to log out this user once again with this same refresh token, because this is not in our database, we'll get an invalid token provider response. So let's quickly check that out, and we'll see the result. Okay, now invalid token provided because this token is no longer in our database. Even if I now try to use the same refresh token once again, to regenerate access token for this user, we'll still get an error response of invalid token provided because this is no longer there in our system. So let's quickly check that out in our generate access token endpoint once again. So we have the invalid token response provided, and that is how basically you make use of refresh token and access token, guys, to generate token for the user in your system and you can use this refresh and access token, to protect some route and then to authenticate user from accessing some protected routes on your server. So thank you very much for watching. And in the next tutorial, we'll kind of do a summary overview of all of them. And as you can see, I'm not handling my status response here. I'm getting a 200 status response for an invalid request. This is actually not supposed to be. We're supposed to have a 400 error, for user input error, or any invalid item be sent by the user. So in the next tutorial, where we'll do a summary overview and testing of all these three endpoints, we'll see how we can send valid um, status code and then a proper JSON error message. So thank you very much for watching, and please do like the video, subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial. Thank you once again, and bye.